All right. Do you want to kick off, James?
Yeah, so this is the one-on-one. This is transitioning my normal one-on-one with Hayana, who's been acting substitute, can't be ever replaced designer for testing and runner. But we're really happy to have Gina as part of our team. So swapping Gina in for Hayana. So this is just the transition one. We'll go through the transition issues, but otherwise it's a pretty normal one-on-one for Hayana and I think. And so I'm just going to jump in like it would be a normal thing. Some follow-up stuff. I figured we'll probably cover this as part of new business, but following up on the OKRs, just where we're at with that. And then I linked to the existing usability jobs to be done issue, usability category jobs to be done issue. Gina, as we start looking at that, I wouldn't be shocked if that evolves into, hey, let's actually look at review apps as well with it being a new category, but we can focus on usability for now. That's a very immature category. So understanding what besides just the visual review tools users are expecting out of that and they need to do as part of usability testing or user acceptance testing is probably the focus there. But we'll deep dive on that at some point. I just wanted to make sure the link was here so that you had it as part of your the next steps in that when you get to it. Cool. And then Hayana, you want to start with the transition issue?
Yeah. So let me open up the link here in a new tab. So I'm not sure if I already shared this with you, James. Oh, I did. Yes. So I put together this issue that has all the information for testing, both testing and runner, that's relevant to Gina. So tentative timeline for the transition. So 14.2, which is now, we'll start assigning some of these things, initiatives to Gina. So doing this transition, Gina shadows Vitica in some of the tasks. And then 14.3, it's when the fun starts. So doing the UX scorecard for runner, that's part of one of our UX department KRs, and getting started being assigned to issues for both testing and runner and still with Vitica support. I transition out and on 14.4, yeah, continue working on stage group work, contributing to UX KRs and so on. And in this issue also, James, I already asked you to have a look, but maybe we can triple check to see if everything's here relevant to research initiatives, if there's anything else that might be helpful and useful to Gina during this transition. And of course, the team meetings and rituals. For testing, maybe it's good to, for context, Gina. For testing, Vitica has been doing the research, right, for dashboards recently, so in the previous milestone. And before that, I think my main efforts were really related to the merge request widgets. And we did work, right, a couple of months ago on some UI usability improvements, but there's nothing on my plate today that needs to be transitioned to you in terms of, yeah, deliverables. What we're going to talk about is the merge request usability improvements that are planned for the quarter. And then we can schedule a separate call, or I'll record a video or something just explaining to you what I did and what's next for you. But it's that conversation about implementing the improvements to the UI of the widgets and the merge requests. I'll pause now to see if there's anything that the folks would like to hear from me in terms of this transition issue.
The only thing I would say is that you have down in 14.4 the UX KRs that aren't as bullet pointed out as they are in the other ones is the only thing. But I think that Gina knows that that's part of the 14.4, what's on her plate for 14.4. Is there's a disconnect between those two, the timeline for transition and the current and upcoming initiatives. I don't know that we need to do any transition of, hey, you're going to kick off jobs to be done research for usability testing in 14.4, or if we'll just pick it up and run with it.
Yeah, I think it will really depend on your planning, James.
Okay.
So I added here the KR, right, usability improvements to the merge request widget, but not sure, based on my comment, right, from yesterday, I would rather not assign anything that is technical to Gina now so that she can focus on,
Yeah.
you know, getting
Yep.
up to speed and on board with everything else. But then again, yeah, if depending on the scope of this KR, we will contribute. So I have a plan also to at least do the improvements of one widget this quarter. So I'll take a task myself, but then it's really up to you on how you want to prioritize the jobs to be done, KR versus the usability, and then 14.304. I would say since in 14.3, Gina's going to be doing the KR for runner, which is the scorecard. I would suggest keeping the jobs to be done work related to testing in 14.4. You know, just looking at the scope.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I was just calling out that it looked like for 14.2, your bullets in your timeline for transition section of the issue and the bullet points in the current and upcoming initiatives seemed to match, and then they got askew in 14.3 and 14.4. So just making sure that we're aligned with there's some overlap, but they're not mutual. They're not the same list. Just spelled out differently. That was all. Cool. Looks good to me.
Awesome. Gina, any questions? Anything that could be helpful to you still on this topic?
I don't think so. It's pretty clear. I just need to start going through most of it. That's all.
Awesome. Then I'll jump to the next one, which is the merge requests widget. So I'm not gonna really dive into that, but here's the KR, and I'm looking for the issue, the Hive issue. Let's see, this one. So we had a discussion yesterday, James, with Scott. There you go. So here's the link. Yeah, I kind of already touched on this one. So we still don't know what the scope for this would look like in terms of how technical these improvements would be. So that's why I say, okay, let's make sure that this is under the Scott's radar. I mentioned to Darren, James, in our last 101 that since Gina will be doing now the scorecard for runner upcoming milestone, so we could potentially look into Miguel as a support for testing. But then again, that's a conversation that needs to happen with the engineering managers and to talk about allocation there. But I know that looking at the plans for runner for UX, there is not a lot of front-end work that will be delivered. There is, of course, because Miguel is very proactive, but just raising the flag here that we might want to look into different teams to support testing during this quarter for the merge request widgets.
So I'm confused then. Is the working group going to deliver kind of a framework or updates to pajamas about here's what our widget should look like, where there should be consistency and usability around merge request reports on the page, and then we'll go and implement that? Or is working group and this KR completely separate initiatives, in which case they seem very duplicative and we're going to end up with two different results? So if they're not the same and our KR is tied to the working group, I'm very concerned about what we're supposed to be doing here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why the working group is still it's still a proposal, right? So we have the folks that have been from foundations, some folks in front-end department, UX department, that are coming together to say, this is how we're going to implement. And then based on the guidelines, right, the framework, each stage group that it owns that widget will implement the enhancements. So what we need to understand is, are we going to be required to change, for example, only the CSS of some widgets? Do we have to, redesign the view components? Do we have to? So how technical is that activity, is that task. That's why I said yesterday, let's not assign that to Gina or to myself just yet, because if it's something that really requires, it's a very front-end heavy task, we will probably be able to do it, but we're better spend our time in the meantime in different parts of the product, especially during Gina's onboarding period. So that's why we might still have to do it, but we don't know yet exactly. So that's what the working group is figuring out. It's not a replicated, it's a duplicate task or anything. They're providing really the framework and a step-by-step so that each stage group can implement the changes this quarter. Does that kind of answer your question?
It does. I mean, I don't know how we're going to achieve this KR if the working group is just now kicking off or is still in a proposal state, and if that's going to be where the suggestions for this come from versus the teams themselves being the DRI and what that widget should be, at least as far as like content potentially. And obviously we'd work with our designer to understand the usability of the feature, but if the working group is going to propose that to us, then the working group should be the ones making those changes as well, I would think. That's personal opinion aside. But then how does this fit into all the work that Pedro and Kai did last quarter and the quarter before around all of the content on the merge request page itself? We got a lot of suggestions and made a lot of changes already to widgets based on that feedback. It seems like we're redoing that effort. So are there lessons missed or things that we didn't learn, or are we just not happy with the results of that? And how do we ensure that we don't just spin this up again in 2 quarters because we're still not happy with usability of widgets?
Yeah, I totally get that. And it's also one of my concerns, as in, it's a plan for the quarter, but the quarter's already started, right? So part 1 is figuring out how do we want to implement this. And then part 2, I think it's good to clarify that the effort, right, that our teams already put into improving the usability of the merge request, we're not gonna lose it, right? It's not that we are overriding the changes or that it was a waste or anything, but we're really focusing on, at this point, as far as I understand, and as far as where my part of that redesign went, is that we are making sure that the UI is the same across the widgets. Right. So that's the things that also we reviewed together. And that's also based on the usability insights and the research that was done in merge request, that async critique that we had, plus the insights each stage group had, and that the foundations team incorporated on the proposals. So that's also why I'm opening a sidebar here. And I'm saying, looking at what I redesigned in Figma and looking at our team's like the availability for front end, I think once we know how we're going to implement these changes, that we should focus only on the look and feel of this widget. It's not really, here's a full redesign like some of proposals that I had, changing where things are, changing how we're displaying content. Maybe we do there's a facelifting of some of the widgets, the most used ones or the ones that are the most relevant, and then we reevaluate. But I think it's too soon to tell, and also to measure how much work this is going to require from us. But anyways, it's part of the engineering OKRs, and we need to deliver anyways. So that's why I'm trying to keep some of the UX bandwidth a buffer there for us during this quarter.
Yeah, and totally acknowledge, let's keep the buffer there for UX. We just want to be clear that we probably only have one front-end engineer for all of Q3 until we get a backfill in some way or another. So our availability to work on anything beyond one widget change, a milestone for the 2 remaining milestones, is going to be limited, especially with the emphasis on .com availability, performance, all those other things. Cool. Anything else on MR widgets?
Not on my end. Maybe Jen, do you have like any question? What is the thing even? Because we've been talking about it, so maybe I'm afraid did we give you enough context also about this effort?
No, I think you had given me your Figma file, and I kind of read about I got some context from the stuff that you had sent me before. Yeah. So this, I guess the only question I have is this a shared KR between UX and engineering? Is that how that would work? Okay.
UX, because UX, we are under the engineering department, and this is a shared KR between UX and product. So
Product. Okay.
mhm. I'll make sure that we'll go over this. What day is today? This week? Next week? Like, is it Tuesday? What is it? This next week. Okay. And then I know that we're almost at 20 minutes mark. So project quality summary design, James. So I spoke with Vitika about the expectation, right? That this is scheduled for, I think, 14.4, and that's for implementation, right?
I think
or
I
design.
modified that.
You modify that? Okay.
Yeah, just because we have so much, let's see, so I have, we can probably kick the design out into 14.5 even. Just looking at the epic itself. Hold on, let me link to that so everybody's looking at it. Because we're focused on the performance work and the other whatnot, we're not going to start on the test execution endpoint until 14.5, which means we won't implement a UI until 14.6. So we can push that back into 14.5. And then Gina and Darren and I can figure out how that fits into her work. That takes that off of Vitika's plate, so she can refocus back on pipeline execution.
Okay, then I'll communicate. Let's communicate this to Vitika.
Yeah.
So she can transition out.
From let's make sure we have a clean handoff there.
Yeah.
Totally appreciate all of her work though on helping with the interviews and sourcing and discussion guide, and all of it. It was super great. And the initial design too. It's been fantastic working with her again. I really appreciate being able to continue to make progress on this effort.
That's awesome. Really happy to hear that. Cool. So I'll take that task myself. And then Gina, over to you.
I just had something small, which I'm trying to now use the link that I added in there to track the issues that I have for Milestone. And I was hoping that that would make it a little bit more clear for you, James, to see what I'm working on. Obviously, there's not that much in there right now because I just started. So, but I'll be updating it.
Awesome. And I need to remember to start tagging you on our release post checklist as well. Hopefully I can do this in 10 seconds. We write release post entries for all of the direction items or other major changes that we're shipping that go out as part of a marketing blog, although that's starting to change a little bit. And make sure that, especially for the UX items, that on all of the release posts, we tag the designer as well as EM and tech writer. So I'll start tagging you on that issue, and you can see a status very similar to this of where's each of the release post items at in its normal progression to getting published out to the blog.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. It's cool.
James, you might also want to add Gina to the triage reports.
Yeah, I've been waiting to go and open that MR, but I can go do that this week.
Okay, then you can remove me. I'm adding this to the action items.
I look at it every Monday. I'm like, oh, I should really go change this out. Oh, I don't know if I need to change. I'll go look at the transition issue. And then I'm 12 issues deep into triaging bugs. And I'm like, wait, what was I going to do again? Every time. All right. Yeah, if you assign that to me, I'll go take care of it. My stuff is pretty quick and easy. I am going to be, what am I doing this week? Supporting our internship for learning for Scott, who's coming on board and going to do some problem validation with us. So he will be picking an opportunity, scoring it, and then moving forward with all of the recruiting and other whatnot for that. Writing the discussion guide, the whole kit and caboodle, up through presenting an opportunity canvas. So I'm excited about having another chunk of research done in the backlog, going from problem to potentially solution validation, so that then we can have a clean handoff to Gina and myself and move it on from there if we find that there's a big opportunity. I'm going to start working on a deck for a sales enablement webinar that'll be happening later this month for me, wrapping up some partnership discussions with a company that reached out about a potential partnership. And the thing I forgot to add to my actual list was I'm going to go back and rewatch all of Jackie's videos around why SCM users aren't using CI. I want to dig into the artifact related bits there, now that we have build artifacts as a category, and understand what is preventing them from using artifacts in general, because that drives so much of the testing functionality. So that's it for me. And yeah, I just wanted to surface that Scott is going to be coming on as an intern. Technically, I think starts this week, but it's throughout Q3, and he'll be 40% time working on that project.
And how does this change for the, well, does it change anything for the interactions between you and Gina, or is he expected to cover also some of the tasks or responsibilities?
Yeah, Scott will be the DRI. I'll be in a supporting but very, very hands-on role. And similar to how we would do any other problem validation, it'll be probably like a 90-10 split between product, Scott and I covering that product role, and Gina design. Gina covering that design role of really just knowing that the research is going on and jumping in and looking at results as they come in, but not actively participating as we've previously sketched out. So problem validation still sits firmly within product. And then we'll keep you up to date on how it's going. And you can review discussion guide, opportunity canvas as you have time, but not expected that you are providing active feedback at all.
Okay.
Awesome.
Gina, are you already added to the Slack bot for testing and runner? So are you being asked to submit, like, I don't know, the daily status, the daily report?
Oh, the bot.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't think I'm added to it, although I've seen it. And then I can't find a way to get the app somehow. Is that something that's on me to do?
Yeah, I
I
think
Scott can do it.
Scott,
I just pinged him in channel.
Oh, thank you.
To add Gina, and also can I ask him to remove me? To select and remove now. At least I'll have less notifications, at least 9. Every day I'll have a,
You wake up and you get blasted with bot
I
notifications.
go there and like mark as read, delete.
Right?
Okay. Right?
Yeah, I don't like the calendar one. It just reminds me how silly my day can be some days. Cool.
All right.
Awesome. Anything else?
Not from me.
I saw Brazil won their semifinal, the men's team won their semifinal World Cup soccer game and go into the
won.
finals.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Hopefully you didn't record that and you were trying to watch it later. Just
I'm watching
ruined
everything.
the full soccer match for you.
Yeah, I'm watching on my breaks. It's just now we are watching, which one? I don't know. We're watching something, and yeah, we just have to run back to work. So replay exists for a reason. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm hoping to catch some of that new like sport climbing tonight when they do it in prime time here in the States. There's 3 different rock climbing events. There's a speed climb, some other technical climb thing, and something else that is all a new event. So that looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Are you following, Gina? The Olympic Games?
Yeah, I've been not every day. I guess I haven't been watching a ton of it, but I did watch some of the 3x3 basketball, at least the women's, and then I watched some of the soccer. I do want to see the new sports. I wanted to watch skateboarding and surfing, but I haven't gotten a chance to, just because skateboarders are so young. They're like 15 years old.
Yeah, the Brazilian girl, she won the silver medal. She's 13. She's crazy. Yeah.
That is wild.
Well, hopefully we'll get the chance to watch some things today. Yeah. My partner is downstairs watching, so I might join him later.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Then if there's anything, so James will resume to our now regular one-on-ones. Maybe we can meet once every 3 weeks, and then yeah, I'll create a new invite for us with a new agenda also, so that you have your agenda doc with Gina, and yeah, everything set up for you.
So you and I, this one was kind of a one-off where I included Gina and I's one-on-one doc as the agenda.
Oh,
Your
okay.
and I agenda doc is still the normal doc in our meeting that will occur in 2 weeks. So if you want to switch that, change the one on the 17th to be on the 24th, and then every 3 weeks after that, that will work for me.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I thought this one
then-
was that same doc, the same everything.
And then Gina, you and I have our normal Thursday morning
Yes.
that will happen this Thursday. I need to move next week's because I'll be out of office on the 12th.
Okay.
But we'll do a weekly one-on-one, and we can keep that cadence as long as you want. If you feel like we can go back to bi-weekly, that's fine too. But I would say at least every 2 weeks we should touch base.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, weekly is great right now, at least for me.
Cool.
All
right.
Then have a nice day. If I don't see you anymore, have a nice
You too.
weekend.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.